We talk about the work in progress. I mean, I look at the WIP report as in the construction industry as, the Bible or the source of truth, right? Of really what's happening with your business. If you don't have anything else, you can run your business fairly effectively with, and understand your jobs and your job costing with a WIP report. And the WIP report is really what helps you to define and develop accrual-based financials, like you were talking about, Martin. It really gives you a visibility into, from its basic level, it's a one page. It's got a number of columns going across. You have an understanding of what the original contract value is, and then your costs associated with completing the contract. So that upfront, you should have a good visibility into what your estimated profits will be upfront. That then, and what your margin should be. So now upfront, you have an understanding. Okay, before I even start, here's what my bid is. Here's what my cost should be. And now I can manage against that, and I can track my costs against my budget that I hopefully have on a job by job basis. Number one, and then I can also track my billings that I billed to the client. In some cases, I've billed in excess. You have a couple columns: billed in excess of costs and costs in excess of billings. So you're able to track all of that. And then from a profitability perspective, most construction companies are on a percentage completion method. And what that means is I recognize revenue, not when I receive the cash, like in Martin's example, but if I have $1 million contract and I'm 20% complete with that contract, I'll recognize 20% of the revenue. So I'll recognize $200,000 at that point in time. It doesn't matter how much I've invoiced, doesn't matter how much I've collected or not collected. That is my revenue. And that's how I record that. And my costs then should align with that revenue. So that on a month, let's say, make the example easy, $200,000. I've incurred, $150,000 in cost. I know that month I was $50,000 profitable in that month. Obviously, things can get a little bit more complex with change orders and those types of things, but it should allow you to manage the cost on your engagement or on your project, so that you can control and see into the future. If you see, okay, hey, this is getting a little bit out of hand, there's some changes going on here, this may impact the profitability of my engagement. What decisions do I need to make to be able to improve or impact this for the better? But this is, that is the simplest form of, hey, a good contractor is constantly looking at that at a minimum, probably a weekly basis, saying, okay, where are my jobs moving? How successful are they? Am I maintaining my margins that I expected going into this? And it's a critical tool for all contractors.
Yeah, and I think the contrast, I know listeners that I'm thinking of, where would that money be? And the distortion would be, hey, I got paid 20% or I got paid 50%. I took draws and they covered them, and I put it all in income. And then again, on what I spent for labor and materials, I put that all in an expense, but they're not correlated with each other. So you don't really know. And WIP is a work in process, is a critical component that keeps you matched up for a period. What percentage of people that you encounter in contractors keep track of WIP?
It's for the smaller contractors, it's challenging because the accounting tools out there, several of the softwares out there, they're not able to that are being used, don't effectively generate a good WIP report that spits it out, nice and pretty for you. So a lot of contractors, they develop their own through Excel if they can. A lot of contractors that you mentioned in 10 million and under, they don't have that. They're just kind of using the gut check on how jobs are going, right? And you can get
Yeah.
away with that if you only have a couple of jobs going, but once you have a handful of jobs and significant volume of jobs, that just can't be done. If you're doing this effectively, it evens out your financial performance over the year, and it creates that consistency so you can truly evaluate the performance of your business instead of that roller coaster of ups and downs based on when you collect the cash, when you make payments, et cetera.